Welcome to Open Source Friday. I'm Kedasha, and today I'm super excited for this episode because we have Rotimi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, from ClassroomIO, here to tell us all about his amazing open source project. But before I bring him on, I just want to say, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Tell me where you're joining us from in the comments. Nice to see you. Again, I'm Kedasha, super excited to be here. And it's been a very long week, right? Hope I know for me it's been a long week, but hopefully for you, it's been a long, good week. There's like a little glare in my eyes. Don't know where that's coming from, but hopefully it's not too distracting. But yeah, so today we have a ClassroomIO here to tell us all about building, or online boot camps or online courses with the product. It seems really, really cool, and I'm super excited to have him here today. I'm going to invite him on the stage. Hi.
Hi everyone. Hi guys.
How do you pronounce your name? Is it Rotimi or Roti? I'm sorry, I should have asked you that earlier.
So like if it's complicated because it's on my local language, Yoruba. So it's Rotimi, but like I'm fine with that.
Rotimi.
Yes,
Okay,
Rotimi.
so Rotimi. Oh, do you know
Yeah.
roti? In Jamaica, we make roti with curry.
Oh really?
So
I,
it's
I
like
don't know.
roti.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So roti, it's like a flat bread kind of. And then you'll have it with like curry
Okay.
chicken or like me, like curried vegetables or like curried veggie chunks or something like that because I'm vegetarian. So like your name reminds me of
Um,
Rotimi. Okay, anyway, let me not go off too much on a tangent here. We have folks from Brazil, Ukraine, South Florida, Czech Republic, Nigeria, Atlanta, Sweden, Oklahoma, Dallas, Texas, Ghana. Wow. Ireland, you guys are coming from all over the world. Even Mexico is in the house. Hello, everyone. Colombia, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let's get into the stream, right? So, Rotimi, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? All that jazz.
okay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful to be here. Hi everyone. So my name is Rotimi Best. You can just call me Best. I am
Okay.
originally from Nigeria. I'm currently in Nigeria right now. So if my network is choppy, just know it's Nigeria. um, but I'm majorly based in the UK. I'm currently in Nigeria right now. I'm a full stack software engineer, like senior software engineer. Um, Majorly, I'm focused majorly on like JavaScript stack on the front end and on the back end. I did PHP early on in my career, but like React took me and then I never looked back. Um,
Ah,
yeah. Cool. Yeah, this is actually my. So I've contributed to a couple of projects, but this ClassroomIO.com is my first open source project.
whoa.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about it later. But yeah, that's a little about me.
Oh, that's amazing. So full stack PHP, and then you fell in love with React. I mean, like, how do you feel about React right now? Like, do you still like the current state of React? Because like I learned React back in 2019, 2020 when it
Yeah.
was like a lot of fun. But right now I feel like it's gotten so complex that I'm just like, oh my God, what is all this?
Yeah.
But like, how do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, it's a very hot topic right now on Twitter, right? On X,
Yes.
basically. Everyone is talking about like the complexity of React. But I still do React in my day job, right? But ClassroomIO is built on Svelte, so it's Svelte Kit. So the whole application is using Svelte Kit. I have fallen in love with Svelte, but once I realized the amount of less code I had to write compared to
Mm,
React is really good. Like React helped me get my first job. So like I'm always
mhm.
grateful to React, right? I really love the idea like you can break UI into small components. That was like really the game changer for me personally working with React.
Yeah, same.
And then Svelte came, and then like a lot of things became easier, and I've been using Svelte since. But like, yeah, I still do React every day at work, but I use Svelte completely on ClassroomIO and any of my pet projects. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. So, talking about Classroom IO, tell us about this project. Like, how did you come up with the idea? Like, why did you decide to build a course building website? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So few years ago, before I got my first job, I used to teach English to Ukrainians. So I used to be,
Oh,
I
wow.
did my bachelor's in the Ukraine. Yeah. And um, so I applied to the company as a software developer. However, they saw that I had experience teaching English. So they said, okay, we need help teaching our Ukrainians English language. And I knew Russian and English. So I came in as their English teacher. And that was the first time I really had the experience of uh, manually doing everything that I had to do when it comes to teaching. So I was using like Google Docs for writing the lesson materials. I'll print the paper. I'll give them assignments. They write it in the
Mm.
books. It was a crazy experience, but I never really thought about it. Um, I didn't even realize that it was a pain, right? Until later on, like after 3, 4 years, I got into the company later on, and we decided to start an internal boot camp in the company where we'll teach React JS, so React, right? To
Mm.
junior developers. So we used to teach React to junior developers, people that just knew HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and they wanted to learn React. And we picked like the best students after like the boot camp, and then we gave them a job in the company. So within that period, I got the opportunity of meeting lots of talented people, and um, we would use GitHub for the code, Google Doc for like the lesson outline, Google Slide for the presentation, Telegram for the chats, and I can go on and on. Google Slides for attendance and grading. So it was just this very complicated. After the second cohort, the all the other teachers were burnt out because like we were doing that alongside our day job, and it was very complicated to manage everything that had to do with it. Just preparing the materials, grading them, taking the classes, syncing communications, and then for the next cohort we had to like clone everything again and start afresh. it
Mm.
was it was it was so complicated. So I that was when I started working on the prototype for ClassroomIO. That
Mm.
was that was the starting point. So I was like, okay, I actually checked different platforms, right, that allowed me to kind of like teach with students. So I just had students and I want to teach. That's all I want to do, right? I don't want to launch an online course. I don't want something very official, right? I don't need payments. I just have students. I want to give them materials, assignments, things like that.
Right.
But like many of the platforms that existed were very complicated. The easiest one that like everyone knew was Google Classroom, because like
Mm-hmm.
COVID around the time. Teachers were using Google Classroom to like teach students, so it was like very intuitive even for non-tech people. So I tried Google Classroom. However, my biggest issue with Google Classroom at the time was that um, you can't customize the platform. It's Google's classroom.
Mm.
It's not your classroom, right? So like, and we are a company, right? And we are running this internal boot camp. We want to have our own like platform that we could use to manage it. So that's the initial idea of Classroom. Like, why can't there be a platform that makes it very easy for an organization that teaches, that has students, has content, just wants to manage the learning experience? They get their own platform, customize it however they want, and they just have all the tools that they need to create an extremely good learning experience for the students, right? And the students will have no idea about ClassroomIO, right?
Yeah.
That was that's the problem I was trying to solve.
Nice. That's a really good story. So you're a teacher, and I'm not gonna glance over the fact that you said you know Russian
Yeah,
and another language.
no, just Russian and English. That's all. Like,
Russian, English, and I'm pretty sure you speak like
yeah,
your
my
native
local
language.
language.
Yeah, in
Yes.
Nigeria. Oh, just
Yes.
like three languages, no big deal. But like you're teaching and you realize, oh my goodness, this is so painful. Like, why
Yeah.
are these platforms so difficult to use? And then I'm using Google Classroom, but why can't I customize it? Like, this is not ideal for me. So then you're just like, okay, I'm gonna build it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna build the solution. So like, how did you start building it? Like, did you have anyone to help you? Were you doing like weekend hacks, night hacks? How was that process?
Yeah, it was very crazy. So I was already used to working at night, like 11, 12, 1, 2, just coding at night and weekends. That's one thing you can do when you're still single. So I'm
Yeah.
currently married. I can't do that anymore. But when I was still single, I could like do that like all day. All my weekends were just working on the software. So um, the good thing is that I use Svelte. So Svelte makes coding very, very productive. I don't know of like
Okay.
many of the tools that exist right now, but like to build a simple component, you just need like 4 or 5 lines of code. And like your reactivity is so simple. The store comes with the tool. So I used Svelte, made me very, very much productive than in React, to be honest. And then I used Superbase. Superbase is like this open source alternative to Firebase. Uh, Very, very
Mm,
huge shout out to Superbase. Amazing product. So like Superbase makes you like 10x productive than building your own backend infrastructure by yourself. So if I
mm,
was not using Superbase, I had to create like a REST API, authentication, connect webhooks if I wanted real time features, and then like lots of layer of complexity on top of each feature that I want to build, and then I have to create REST APIs on top of that. And with Superbase, I just create like database tables, and then I can like just start interacting with those tables from the front end. Obviously, there are things like RLS for security, but that made me really, really productive. Like I could ship the first version in like about 2 months or 3 months. Obviously,
yeah.
it was crap, but you could uh, post lesson notes and then give assignments and grade the assignments. That was all in the first version. So like there was no community, students and things like that. Yeah, all those things didn't exist. But yeah, I had like someone that actually wanted to use it, so that gave me like a very short time frame. They used it, they liked it. They eventually wanted to buy it, but I didn't want to sell. So like
Yeah.
we had to part ways in that area. But that time it wasn't open source. So like
Mm-hmm.
that was about a year ago, 2 years ago. I just made
Mm-hmm.
it open source last year, November, because
Mm-hmm.
ClassroomIO got accepted into a program called Codacy Pioneers. So a company called Codacy, they sponsor open source projects, and they take us through um, 1 year training, like mentorship. So Ruth Ikega
Nice.
is one of the mentors. Evan Yu is one of the mentors. So Ruth is an amazing mentor. Um,
Nice.
so because of the program, that's the only reason I open sourced the project. Before it wasn't open source. So I was like, okay, if I get accepted into this program, I'll make the project open source.
Nice.
I'm
Well, I
glad
mean,
that
I'm glad you got accepted because now, now it's open source and you have like the community wanting to contribute to it and even more people wanting to use it.
yeah,
Open source can still be a good and viable way to like have a product and launch a product, right?
yeah,
I love that for your MVP, you focused on the core functionality of the application. And it's
yeah,
not like, oh, I want to do all these things and all these things have to be done before I can launch the app. I think a
yeah,
lot of times we get stuck in our heads when it comes to wanting to launch our own product because you're just like, oh my gosh, it doesn't look the way I want it to look. Oh no, this part isn't working. Oh no, that isn't working. But it's just like, you have to ship to learn. So I'm happy that you built something and you shipped it and it was working, right?
yeah.
It was working. So like, can we see ClassroomIO, see what it looks like? So we can get a feel of like what the UI is like, some of the
Sure.
code, because everyone loves to see code on these streams. So yeah, let's go into a little demo if you're ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. I am ready.
Cool, let's go.
Okay, good. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So yeah, this is classroomio.com. Um, So like don't confuse it with classroom.io. It's classroomio.com. Uh, yeah, if you go to the landing page, we just have like a summary of like the features that we offer. Um, uh, like core functionalities, like you can manage courses, you can customize it, like I said. You have like a knowledge base, so multiple students, if you run multiple cohorts and people ask the same question, you can just link to the previous answer you gave to the previous cohort, and you don't have to answer again and again. That's what we're doing with Telegram, which was a very big issue. And then we've got AI integration. We're definitely adding more to it, but like simple things like, okay, how can AI help you generate exercises, assignments? How can AI
Oh,
help you
nice.
yeah, lesson materials, lesson notes? So we're integrating those features into ClassroomIO. We use OpenAI for that right now. Like there's no complexity in there, but um, they have great tutorial and documentation around that. You get a personalized dashboard. So I'm also going to show you, like you have like a subdomain that you get, and then you can customize the landing page that your students will see. Your students log in and they have their own separate student dashboard, and then many other cool features that you get. So if you want to get started, you either hit get started or click on the dashboard. I already have the dashboard open here, so you can. So it will take you to app.classroomio.com. Um, if you click on the dashboard right here, if you're not signed up, you'd sign up, and then you
Hmm.
create your own organization. So your organization is your, let's say it's your bootcamp or whatever you want to call it. Let's say you run bootcamps, or you just have a teaching business, right? You have students and you want to teach them. We have this concept of organizations. You can create multiple organizations like I have here, but I've created one especially for this stream, GitHub Masters.
Nice.
In this organization, we teach everything GitHub. So yeah, like so you have like your courses. I've created one course here, but I can create another course. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I have this. So I found this like simple course on GitHub, by GitHub, I guess, and like it's
Yes.
teaching you about GitHub. Yes, yes, it's teaching about GitHub. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this like as a template to create a course on ClassroomIO, following
Really?
this course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the title of this course is Introduction to GitHub. So I would just say like create a course right here, and then say Introduction to GitHub. Um, you can write the short description yourself, or you can ask AI. So this is one of like the places where we have. So most of this, like we don't have it everywhere, but one of some of the places we help you, like in places where you have to like write content.
Yes.
We already integrate OpenAI, so you can automatically give it prompts, and then you can um, get like very short answers for what you need.
Nice.
Right. I just asked AI to help me generate this short description. So yeah.
Nice.
Okay, you're in the UI for the course, Introduction to GitHub. The first thing you want to do is like create a lesson. So for this lesson, the first lesson I'm just going to say is, so this is, I'll just start with this. Create a branch.
Yeah.
Say create a branch. Uh, you don't have to give it a date. This is like for like boot camps have specific dates, but
Yeah.
if you don't have specific dates, you can just skip it. It's not required. Um, so yeah, I'll just create like 3 lessons. So commit a file, save, and then what's the last one? Open a pull request. So I'll come here again, open a pull request PR. Okay, good.
It's so easy to use.
Yeah, yeah, very straightforward. So like if you come to the first course, create a branch. Let's say you want to
Mhm.
add content, you click on edit. So you have your WYSIWYG editor. You can paste content here. I actually have an open PR for integrating Notion style editor. It's currently work in progress right now, but you can be able to choose what editor you want within the UI. But right now we just have like a general WYSIWYG editor.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the cool thing is that we also have AI here, right? And you can say, okay, we already have it set up where if you say generate a lesson note, it would look at
Okay.
the title of this course and the yeah, and the topic of this lesson, and then start generating content for you, like that you can start working with, like right in the dashboard. Uh,
Nice.
so that's one cool thing. Like you just say edit, and everything is there for you. Uh, so one thing I also want to show you is like you can upload videos or you can embed YouTube videos. So I have this YouTube video that I already have prepared here. So it's
Nice.
someone did a course on YouTube. I just add the video and it will automatically embed the video here. Now if I click on done,
So, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like for something like, okay, for skills.github.com, right? Which
yeah,
is essentially a place where you learn how to use GitHub from the ground up. So
yeah,
essentially, let's say I can just copy all the content from that site and pop it into classroom.io, and then it becomes a course
yeah,
for people
yeah,
to walk through. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. It's pretty much simple. Uh,
And I also
I'm,
love how you integrate AI in it. Like, sometimes it's such a blocker to write descriptions or like those long, lesson plans or like those
yeah,
long lesson things. And so that's a really good use case for AI in classroom.io.
completely agree. Completely agree. Yeah.
Classroom.io.
Yes, ClassroomIO.com. Yeah, let's just say it that way. Okay, good. So right now, like by default, the video is at the bottom. It's actually configurable. So like I can come into the settings and just drag video to the first, and then save it.
Uh-huh.
And then if I come back to the lesson, create a branch, the video is at the top and the content is at the. So this page is kind of like configurable. Obviously, like in the future, we'll have more configurations to like um, make it more like make it easier, right? Directly on this page, you can just move items, just like Notion, right? But we're not there
Yeah.
yet. But it's kind of like a work in progress.
I
Uh,
love it. I love it. I'm super excited about this. We have a few questions.
okay.
Let's look at a few of them. So, like when you launch your MVP, how did the students find the UI versus like now? Like, what is the student view like?
Oh, good question. So the student view, it's right here, student dashboard. So like, so let me show you something. This is so if I go back and then I come to dashboard, you see this view site. You can just click it and it will take you to your landing page. Okay, because I'm already logged in, right?
Yeah,
It takes me to the student dashboard, but this is the subdomain of the organization, githubtraining.classroomio.com. And this is the link that you send to your students, and they have access to the lessons.
nice,
So you as the administrator on app.classroomio.com, and you have your org. This is the slug, right? You notice that this slug is what is your subdomain. So it's the same thing. You just add it to .classroomio, and you have your student dashboard right in. So what students see, right here, right? You see courses, community, audience. The students would see something different. They'll see my learning, they'll see exercises. So these are assignments that has been sent to them. Um, so like we have this kind of like Trello board where like
yes,
as for example, as a student submits this assignment, it moves to this colon automatically. Once I start grading it on my UI, I would be able to move it as a teacher. I would move it to grading in progress. The student gets a notification. They see it on
nice,
this board, and then once it's graded, it moves onto this board, right? So it's kind of like this is the student UI. You see, this is GitHub Masters. There's really nowhere like you see ClassroomIO. This is the
ah,
organization, right? This is the organization logo. This is the organization name. Obviously, like we might have some bugs where we there might be some things that we missed, right? But obviously, like that's why it's open source, right? You can just open an
yeah.
issue, like we get it working, right? There's also
That's
dark mode of this, right? So like
of course, there's dark mode. You're
I
definitely a developer implementing dark mode.
yeah, yeah. I personally love dark mode because I do it like I mentioned earlier. I do a lot of coding at night, right?
Yes,
So it's quite painful. Honestly, it's actually it wasn't like a like oh it's cool to get dark mode. Actually, it was
yeah,
a like necessity. Because I found myself like coding at night and like just the light alone was too bright for me. So I had to shift
gotcha.
to dark mode so I can code comfortably and like debug UI features on the front end. Uh,
So another question is this subscription based or is there a free tier? Like what is the pricing model?
there is a free tier. If you go to our landing page, we've got a free tier. You have unlimited courses. Actually, you're just capped by the amount of students you can have. Um, so
Ah,
the cap is the amount of students that consume your courses. But you can build courses and just save them, and then when you're ready to kind of like increase and scale to
launch.
X amount of students, right? You can. So if you're just testing out, right, you just have 5 students or like 10 students. You don't need to pay anything. And obviously, right, we're majorly just starting out. So like, if anyone has any feedback, any opinion, please, you can send me a message on X, or you can send me a message in our Discord channel. Uh, to get our Discord channel is just somewhere here. Just click on this. You go to our Discord. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Awesome.
we're
And
experimenting with different pricing. So just the last thing, we're experimenting obviously with different pricing. So there are a couple of people that have come to us and said, okay, we just want to build an online bootcamp. We'll pay you X amount of money to like help us like set up the whole service so we can launch our bootcamp. That's also something that we don't show here. But if you need something like that, like we're definitely reachable. It's open for discussion. Um,
yeah.
we're working on the self-hosting documentation. It's still a work in progress. We're discussing with a couple of people that really want self-hosting as well. Um, so we just like went open source in November. So like we have a lot of things to still catch up on. But if you're interested, like you can leave us a message. We'll track to track the update on self-hosting. You can self-host the whole stack if you want. It's your choice. So it's open source anyways. So yeah.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And this can lead us into like a code, like looking at the code. So like what is the tech stack? Like what technologies did you use to build this?
Good. So if I go to the GitHub, right, you can either go to classroomio.com/GitHub, or like if you come to the landing page, you can just click on the GitHub here. It will take you to the GitHub repo. Um, yeah, the tech stack is pretty simple, like very simple. It's SvelteKit, Superbase, and Tailwind CSS. Obviously, we have a couple of things behind the scenes, like little things. Like for example, our repo is a mono repo, so like we have multiple projects in here. If you go to the apps, we have ClassroomIO.com. That's the landing page. Dashboard, which is the one I just showed you. That's the main dashboard. You can like create courses and things like that. And then docs, we have our docs as well. So if you go to classroomio.com/docs, if I go to this, we have our documentation as well. Obviously, our documentation as well is a work in progress. We have a couple of great open source contributors that are helping us work on the docs, as well as myself. And yeah, a couple of things we haven't added, but we're just like iterating on them and working on them as quick as possible. So the whole docs now, it's interesting because like I said like about Svelte kit, right? I use everything with Svelte, but this docs is built with Next.js. That's React, because like the framework for working with like creating docs is very very simple. Nextra actually, it's Nextra for building documentation sites like this, and it's very very straightforward in React. So like obviously I get the productivity gain. That's why I use this here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can already get the idea that we have like Svelte kit here, and then like React
Uh-huh.
here. It's a combination of multiple front end frameworks. Superbase is here for managing our backend. We use Superbase for the API layer, for authentication, and so superbase.com, very very cool open source project, backed by YC. So we use their database layer authentication. We don't use edge functions right now. It's something we might use. um, oh, we use storage, so everything from avatars. So when you come into settings and you upload an avatar, we use the Superbase storage for that. And then real time. Real time is also something I can quickly demo, um, if anyone is interested, where we can create polls. So like let's say you have a lesson, right, and you want to poll your students on certain questions, right, or on their understanding on the lesson. So let's say is uh, ClassroomIO, for example, open source, right? So it's a yes, it's a yes and no, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I just create a poll. Okay, one sec. Let me do that again. Um, is Classroom IO open source? I forgot to put the date on that, the expiration date. If not, it will go to expired. Yes or no. I'll create a poll. So that's this here. If I go to the student dashboard right here, and I go to the course, so you see like the students has this UI with their course in progress. If they
Mm-hmm.
come to that lesson and they come to polls right here, um, one sec. So just this is in lesson. Okay, it's in draft. Okay, I just make it publish, and then I just come back here, and then right here, right? And then one cool thing is if I click on, so this is the student.ui, right? If I click on, I wish I could show it side by side, but like if I click on yes, you'll see here that yes is grade, right?
Okay.
If as a teacher I click on no, you see this progress, and then here it just ticks, right? Um,
Nice. What did you
yeah,
use to build the poll?
yeah, that's super base.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everything that's why I said like super base makes me very productive because like I can show the code for actually implementing that. So
Yeah.
the code for implementing that is very simple where you just say like um let me just show you quickly. It's a very short line of code. So you do super base the channel and then
Can you
on
zoom in a little, like just Command or Control I, Control plus?
one sec.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. So this is basically like the listener for like inserts. So when a student like votes or like select an answer in a poll, it get added into this table. So we're listening to inserts in this table, apps poll
Mm-hmm.
submission, and we're listening for Postgres changes. Now this function is called when an insert happens, and then when an insert happens, I get like this payload that new. That's an argument, and then with that payload, that's what I call new votes. I have like the
Mm-hmm.
selected by ID. I fetch the profile of that user. That's like the students. And then there's just like some interesting stuff that goes on. But we have the array of like polls options based on the current poll that was just voted on. We check for that particular poll so we can make changes on them. And then we can just add to the array, like we have this array of selected by where we
Mm-hmm.
show like the students that have selected an option, and then just by updating this svelte, you don't need to do any like so this is a svelte store, and just by doing equals like this, and I like just return a new array, Svelte
Mm-hmm.
will automatically re-render the UI, and I don't need to
That's
call.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. I don't need to like call any like dispatcher or anything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Redux source. Yeah.
But it's just like straightforward. Once I do
That's
this, right?
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It just re-renders this, and obviously again with Svelte, right?
Wow.
Svelte allows you to do Svelte transitions. So
Uh-huh.
like it does that animation for me out of the box. I don't do anything special. I
That's
don't have any.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Svelte just gives you animations.
So Svelte essentially allows you to just go faster and focus on the core functionality without worrying too much about like styling and
Exactly.
making it look pretty fancy. It takes care of it for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's
Nice, nice.
no library for like animations. It just comes out of the box. No library for skills. It just comes
Yeah,
out of. So
that's
that's
awesome. I love it. This is a really, really, really excellent product. Someone is asking, Randy's asking, are you leveraging ChatGPT's API or another LLM for the AP for the AI integration that you have?
Yeah, we're using OpenAI's API. Um, and we're using a library from Vercel. They have this library called AI. Very, very, I think it's just called AI. Yeah, very, very straightforward library. Like very, very easy to add to any Svelte library or any React library. So this is really all you need on the server, and then on the client, you just use this use chat or something, and then like you have AI integration. You just put your OpenAI key
Yep.
from and really that's it. Like Vassell has done a very good job in
Very, very
pre-
good job. I do like
in
their documentation.
yeah, yeah. So like the to add
Versa.
this into your like libraries, like into your application is very, very straightforward. This is essentially what we do. Obviously, right, we have a couple of customizations because the way we use it is quite different, right? But like this is essentially the fundamentals, right? You just have your OpenAI key you get from OpenAI, um, and then you just like listen for completions. When this use chart from AI, this is AI React, but they have AI Svelte as well. I don't know
Hmm.
if all works, but I know of React Svelte for sure. Um, so yeah, yeah, it's OpenAI.
Nice. This person says, "Oh my God, actions, dispatcher, reducer. I've been there. I need to look into spells." Yeah, same. I've been there
Yeah,
too. All
yeah,
the confusingness of Redux. So
yeah,
somebody is saying that you definitely should pitch this to universities, and I agree. It's a really great product, and it's so the UI is so simple and easy to navigate for both on the teacher side and also on the student side, and even like the course creator side, because maybe the teacher isn't the course creator, right?
yeah.
Um, it's definitely a great tool. Varun says, "How did you learn to make such amazing applications?"
Wow, that that's I don't think it's this amazing. There's so many amazing
It's
applications.
definitely amazing.
I think like we're still learning. Like I'm very grateful, right, to the amazing open source projects that exist. Projects like Cal.com, Documento, Formbricks. Many of these tools like you take inspiration from. Um, for example, we just shipped like the blog section. I just shipped it this morning, and I got inspiration for it really because we don't have like a designer anymore right now. So like we just try to make the best UI that we can. And like I tweaked and got this most of the structure of this blog functionality from Documento. Documento is an open source project as well. They're course projects, so commercial open source. And yeah, shout out to the team, shout out to them. You just keep learning, meeting new people, seeing what other people are doing, try to learn from them. If I showed you the ClassroomIO product a year before, you'd be like, "Oh my god, what are you doing with your life?" Right? But it has gone through several iterations. I had a designer as well early last year, 2 years ago, so that really helped me like reshape and redesign a lot of the UI.
Yeah,
He's from Ghana, actually, so shout out to Derek. Yeah, he really helped with the UI. Lots of credit to him. Yeah, you just keep getting feedback, keep
nice.
iterating. Yeah.
Awesome. And are there evaluations or gradings available as a feature on the platform?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There are. I I can show you a quick demo. So let's say this is the student UI, and in this UI, for example, right, I've already given an assignment to the students. So I can start it. Hopefully, I know the answers. So what is version control? So a system that records changes to file Okay, I think it's this one. Check. Good. So we have this.
Woo!
Cool. Yeah. And then okay, which of the following is an advantage of using Git? Uh, Linear history, distributed workflow, I guess. Okay, it's not linear history. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. Not linear history. Okay, good. Um, so describe the steps to create a Git repository. I can just put anything here, right? And then
Yeah.
finish. So like this goes into pending, right? This is the student UI, like I said earlier. If the student goes into the exercises, you'd see it has moved to this column, right? Submitted.
Oh, nice.
Good. Now I come to the dashboard and I come to submissions, and I see this quiz was submitted, and then I click it. If I change it to in progress, and then we don't have real time on this page, but like real time can come later. But like you see again, it moves to this column, right?
Nice.
So, like, the idea is like students get an idea of what's going on. I wasn't, as a student in the university, one of my biggest problems was like I don't even know when the teacher is grading my work. Like we're waiting for weeks and we don't know like what's the state of the assignments that we submitted like 2 weeks ago. So that's
Yeah.
the main reason why I really added this into the product. So
I
like
love
let's
that
say,
because then you can see like there's movement happening on your assignment. It's not just sitting there.
yeah. So like now this is kind of like the grading UI. It's kind of like Jira modal that you click when you like that you view when you click on like a Jira ticket if you've used Jira. So like now the idea is like as a teacher, right, I can see what the students selected, which was correct and which was wrong. And I see like for example in this, the student selected this two, but one was wrong, one was right. And then I can possibly say, okay, wait, I think if I'll show you something about analytics later, right? But like for this lesson, like for this submission, I can say, okay, you got 8/8. For this, you got, let's say, for failing this, I would say maybe you got like 8 or 6, sorry. And then here, oh, like this, your explanation was very good. So take 7 for that. And then like I would just submit grades, and then I'll move this to graded colon. This gets into the graded column, right? Now I come back into the student UI. Okay, let's say I move the tabs and it comes to graded, and the student sees 21/24 a few
Nice.
seconds ago, right? And then I go to it, and the student sees like the UI of actually what the teacher gave them 6/9, 8/8, 7/7. And the cool thing is, the student comes to marks and they can have an overview of each lesson, each assignment that they've done. And so like again, this replaces, for example, in you remember the scenario I gave of like all the tools I was using. This replaces
Yeah.
Google spreadsheets for like collating grades. So it puts all,
Right. It does
yeah,
it for you.
yes, it puts all the assignments together, and then it shows like, okay, this student had 21 in this total. If I give more assignments and I grade them more, I can see like the total for each student. But this is for the student UI, so they can only see themselves. For the teacher, if I come into marks, obviously just one student, but for a teacher, I can see multiple students right here. So yeah, grading works. Right, that's I just demoed that.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. It would be interesting if there were some graphs or charts to, like visualize the grading and all that jazz.
So let me just show you. We have something for that. So if I come into this, this assignment, right, and I come into submissions, I can see in summary, right, that
Okay.
yeah, for this question. So like let's say I have like 10 submissions, right? I can see that okay, uh, for some reason, let's imagine there were 10, right? And 50% is choosing this over this. I can say, wait, why are 15%, 50% of students saying that the advantage of Git is linear history when like Git isn't linear history, right? And then you can address it in your next lesson, right? That's if you're having live
Exacto.
classes. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got something like that. And then individual, like you can have multiple students right here, and then you can view each of their submissions for each assignment if you want to. Obviously, like later
Nice.
on, working on more analytics. Um, this is kind of like our first idea for like analytics, and then we'll have more like organization wide analytics, things like leaderboards. All those things don't exist now, but it's something like we actually want to work on. So yeah.
Nice. That it's amazing. This is really, really, really good work. I'm so proud of you, and I hope Classroom IO goes very far. We have two
Thank
more questions from our watchers and listeners or viewers.
you.
Very good project. How are the subdomains allocated on the infrastructure side?
Okay. The project is currently hosted on Vercel. So the like app.classroomio.com, that's the dashboard side of things, is
Mhm.
hosted Vercel. So we have DNS. So we use Vercel for DNS, and Vercel allows you to like say, okay, asterisk.classroomio.com. I already bought the domain for classroomio.com, and then um, all the subdomains goes to my application, and then on my application side on the server, I check the subdomain, and then I can determine what organization it is. But Vercel is the one responsible for routing each subdomain into my application. And then on the server side of my application, I then determine which organization is that. That's how I determine, okay, what do you use the SIS, the courses that are visible. So if you log out right now, something I didn't show you is the landing page. So you get a landing page as well. I think,
Oh,
yeah, you get a landing page. I think because I have one thing I would probably do, one very beautiful hack that I could do just I don't have disabling dark mode on this UI, but I can
yes.
just yeah. I think if I log in back, that did not work. But
That's okay. But there we so we get our own landing page for each course.
yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. It looks really great. It looks really great. Rotimi. It is really good. If someone wants to contribute to the project, how can they do so? Oh,
oh,
there we
it's
go. Beautiful.
yeah, this whole page is customizable. Actually, like every content on this page can be edited. So this picture is here. GitHub,
Wow.
your logo, the content that's here, all your published courses. So even though I have two courses right here, but this isn't published, that's why it isn't showing on the dashboard. Once I publish this and say, okay, settings, I say I generate this URL, and then I publish it, and I save the changes, and then I reload this page. Um, that course would show here, Introduction to GitHub.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's now to the other question, how to contribute. Oh, cool. Just join our GitHub. So classroomio.com/discord. Um, or you can just go to the landing page and just click on Discord. Um, we have a very, very straightforward like setup. Um, so you just it's very, if you want to use Gitpod as well, you can like just click this button and you get started contributing. Uh, or you can just set up like make sure you have Docker, and then you just start Superbase. The whole migration is already set up. You just have to make sure like you have the correct M files, and then like the migrations will be set up, and then you just set the right environment variables based on your
Hmm.
Superbase configs, and then you start the project, and that's all. You get like the landing page, dashboard, and docs running locally, or you can choose to start each one of them individually if you don't want, like, for example, most times we work on the dashboard, we don't work on the landing page or docs. So you
Right.
just run the command to get like just the dashboard, right? Or if you want
Nice.
docs, you just run this for the docs. So it's very straightforward. If you run into any issues, like you can always send me a message on Discord or on X.
Amazing, amazing. This has been so informative and so educative. I'm so impressed
Thank you.
um, by the
Thank you.
work that you've done on this. I can tell that it's a labor of love, and like you really enjoy like what you do and the project and stuff. So proud of you. Thank you so much for coming on to share your amazing repository with us.
Thank you.
ClassroomIO.com. Everyone go check it out and also become a contributor. I'm sure there are issues that need to be addressed. Help with the
Yep.
documentation. He's mentioned documentation quite a few times during the stream. So I can tell that he needs some help with, just getting the docs ready for people to contribute and
Yeah.
knowing what to do, all that jazz. Um, and yeah, like thank you so much for being here with us. Really enjoyed the chat. And I guess I will see y'all next time.
Bye, guys.